Thank you for joining us for today's webinar on how wineries can leverage technology to make better business decisions. This webinar is sponsored by Enavate, and we have an exciting lineup. So just so you get a quick overview of what today's webinar is going to look like, we have 4 speakers with us here: Viktoriya from Darioush Winery, Karen from Kobzar 7, Kevin from Innovent, and Jessica from Enavate. We're going to start out with Viktoriya telling us a little bit about Darioush's journey on upgrading their technology to make better business decisions, have a better understanding of what their businesses look like and how they can optimize it. Then we'll move on, talk a little bit about best-of-class softwares that integrate across each other, like Kobzar 7, Innovent, and Enavate. And then at the end, we're going to have a little bit of a Q&A conversation. If you're watching this live, we have pre-recorded this, but we have several of the speakers in the live chat right over here. So if you have questions along the way, don't hesitate or wait till the end. You can pop them in right there and they can answer them as we go along. Or if we don't get to all of them, then we can do a follow-up later on and see if we can answer all your questions. Now, with that, I would like to kick it over to Viktoriya to talk a little bit about the journey that she has led Darioush Winery on to improve their technologies.
Hi, everyone. My name is Viktoriya Kobzar, and I represent Darioush Winery. I work as an information technology manager, and I would like to share our experience and our journey. We've been with NAV 2017 version for a few years, and altogether our journey with Navision goes back, I would say, 10 years of history. So we've always been looking for something that can help us in a business way to simplify our lives here at Darioush. Always wanted to find a solution that would be working for us and not us as team members working for some sort of information technology that requires a lot of workarounds. Darioush is a visionary, and he always wanted to look forward 5, 10, 15 years ahead and look for something that is going to be working for us. Hence, that nowadays we still fulfill our duties and do our business to the best possible ways. Knowing that Microsoft's going to be ending support of Navision 2017 in upcoming years, and knowing that there's going to be a lot of people, because this is the program that is used by pretty much 50,000 people around the world, we knew that when time comes and when we want to do that, it's going to be a long process of waiting. And we wanted to jump in that wagon pretty soon. And consulting with our longtime partners, we knew that it's going to be a smooth transition. And in fact, actually, it was a smooth transition that took little resources from Darioush, as well as a great team on our vendor side. There are a lot of points that actually motivated us to go to BC365. We've been wanting to go cloud-based for some time, knowing that technology is not standing on its own, and this is the future. So we have to do that for many reasons, as I mentioned. First of all, we will stop hosting on our server on premises. This is one of the cost-cutting benefits, as well as we will have anytime, everywhere access to the program. People can be accessed on like laptops, on their iPads, on the road, on the planes. So this is something that we've been keeping in mind and wanted to give it to our team so they can be using the information and have access to that on the go. Also, the cybersecurity is the key issue nowadays, and we knew that the Microsoft partners will be responsible and looking up to that as up to their own babies, and that was also important for us. Knowing that there is like a huge library of additional applications that can be integrated with BC365 was also a big pro for us to look into. Since we integrated, converted to BC365, which took us just several months, and it wasn't, like a huge interruption to our business. We already have Kobzar 7 that is integrated with BC365, and also knowing that there are tons of different applications can be inputted. First of all, we will be looking into a transition to something that will automate our accounts payable, accounts receivable processes, going pretty much 95% digital. And working with the vendors, we know that it's quite possible and it's already out there. And there is a big team of other wineries in the industry that do use that. And this is the key for us as well, that we can converse and share our experiences and see pros and cons of things that are happening. Not to say that all other Microsoft Office apps are already integrated, Teams, Excel, you name it. From production standpoint of view, this is very efficient for us, and efficiency has been also our key thing that we've been looking after. Like I say, the efficiency has been always on a viewpoint, and after converting to BC 365, you've noticed that efficiency increased. I would say people stopped using the ways that they used to do, like way before we started converting to Navision. And the system nowadays gives them a lot of opportunities to be productive. First of all, old ways are very hard, and it took some time for them to get used to new things, but it actually has been quite a quick journey. Hence that there are a lot of different people in our team from different backgrounds and from different ages, and like say we all learn in different ways. But what I feel that transition's been pretty intuitive for everyone. So initially there was like a fear of some team members that it's going to be something new, something that like we wouldn't understand. It's like, no guys, this is actually very easy. And once we've been live for several weeks, it's been noticed, and a lot of team members complimented and actually gave us a positive feedback on how that improved their day-to-day routine, the operations. At this point, we know that there are a lot of modules that can be used in BC 365. At this point, we do not use a lot of them, but this is our plan for the next 5 years to slowly integrate and move into the, like I already mentioned, accounts payable, accounts receivable, automating human resources modules, benefits modules, like anything else that can be production. And that's been also long running exercise that we wanted to execute to provide official and like reliable costing. That it's very important for us. And knowing the tools that exist in the system, we feel pretty confident that that's going to be our feature for the next step that we're going to move in. The team that helped us to transition, we work with these people for quite a while, and they do feel the industry, they know the need, and I am, as the end user, I always get to share our end experience and bring some comments that will help to improve the product, or because there is no universal solution for anyone. And knowing the industry, I always hear feedback from different colleagues in different wineries saying that they do it this way, we do it this way. And there are a lot of products and solutions out there in the market, but we felt that BC 365 meets our needs the most, and we never actually considered other solutions to full extent, just because of our relationship and the ways how our needs and expectations been met, and knowing that this is something that's going to be invested heavily in the future and providing more ERP solution for us. And this is what BC 365 is. So this is my 5 cents on what took us. I'm happy to answer any other questions that you might have, comment on any specifics, if you will, and I'm here.
Great. Thank you, Viktoriya. Before we move on to hear a little bit about each of these different softwares that also all integrate together, did you have like some specific pain points or motivators that made you guys decide it's time to upgrade our technology?
Yes, of course. So we started, if I go back 15 years ago, and like I call it Stone Age of technology for the wineries, where we didn't have a lot of products out there to work with, and we just had to deal with what we have. And at that time, it used to be QuickBooks. And obviously, that was my job to make QuickBooks work for us. And it was like hilarious. But when we transitioned to Navision, that was the big jump, like a huge leap. Yeah, like obviously people didn't expect to what extent it's gonna change our lives. And as a job, one of the aspects of my job here is always to look out and see what else on the market, and can it be, serving us better, or are there any other ways that options that we can utilize? And we knew that there is a huge line, like I mentioned. We looked at the NetSuite, we looked at the Sage, SAP, but that wasn't, anything that kind of changed our lives and our opinion to move that direction. At that point, we already had partnered with Commerce 7, and we integrated to Commerce 7 after quite a long time relationship with Be Loyal. And we felt that C7 is going to give us a lot more flexibility and tools that are unique for us in the Darioush. And we've been known for our complexity of our desires and just how things work, especially on the DTC side. That's why jump to Commerce 7 was pretty natural for us. And like I said, having a relationship with the vendors, we already knew that there are some other applications exist, Wine Direct and others, but with some extent and collective thinking, we made the decision that we made, and we never look back. This sense, like I mentioned, there is nothing that is perfect for anyone, but I guess you just choose what works for you. And at this point in time, we wanted something that's going to work for us with less intervention. And basically, the product has to meet our expectations. And that's been a pretty successful journey and partnership so far.
Yeah, and it really does sound like it's a journey where it's not like you have to do everything at once, but you also have a road ahead of you from where you are now for future possible integrations or optimizations or things like that. So thanks, Viktoriya. We'll get back. We'll want to hear a little bit more, but since you mentioned Commerce 7, I know Karen probably has some specific things you would like to mention about conversations and the integration options. Karen, why don't you introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about Commerce 7?
Yeah, absolutely. So my name's Karen Urquhart. I'm the head of marketing at Commerce 7. For those of you who aren't familiar, Commerce 7 is a direct-to-consumer sales platform built specifically for the wine industry. And at Commerce 7, we believe that, above price and product, the number one reason why a consumer is going to choose a brand is the customer experience. So it's our mission at Commerce 7 to empower wineries to create better shopping experiences, right? And we do this by providing wineries with customer-centric commerce platform that has, modern point of sale, club, subscription, e-commerce, CRM, reservations, and payment tools that they need to give their customers the best shopping experience possible. But to dive into a little bit more of the technical side of things, Commerce 7, plugs right into existing websites, like a WordPress or a Squarespace website. So it gives wineries the design and merchandising functionality that they need, to have a high converting e-commerce site. But beyond that, Commerce 7 is also 100% API based. So this means that Commerce 7 is built to be customized, and it's built to be deeply integrated with other systems and software. So we're modular by design. And by that, I mean, Commerce 7 is not designed or made to be a jack of all trades by any means, right? We focus on how to best optimize the direct-to-consumer sales aspect of a winery's operations. And we rely on expert partners like an Innovent or an Enavate for other aspects of wineries' operations to really create the most impactful overall solution for a winery. Right. And on Commerce 7, there's about 1,000 API endpoints on the platform, which means that every single piece of data on the platform can be pulled or populated through our APIs. So again, this means that wineries on Commerce 7 have a ton of flexibility and control with the platform, and they can easily connect with other systems or customize the look or functionality of the platform on the back end or the front end to really make it work best for them, depending on their unique needs and requirements. So yeah, that's kind of the general summary of Commerce 7.
Thank you, Karen. Can you explain a little bit more specifically about APIs? Because I think that's something that's going to come up a lot in this conversation, and maybe not everybody's familiar with what APIs do or how they work.
Yeah, absolutely. Great question. So an API is basically what's known as an application programming interface. So to put it simply, it's what allows applications and platforms to talk to one another and send information or data back and forth between the two. So just to kind of give an example, if a winery is using both Commerce 7 and Innovent, an API is what allows the two platforms to kind of integrate with each other. And in this specific case, it's what allows wineries to create a product in Commerce 7 from Innovent, because the applications are talking and sharing data with one another through the use of an API. So it's really just sort of that bridge point and that point of connection between two platforms or software.
Thank you. And so when Commerce 7 is built 100% API, that to me says you have that's stating a value and a purpose of your application of what you think is the path forward for wineries and for your company.
Yeah, absolutely. From the beginning, we knew that we wanted to focus on DTC. That's our focus. That's what we're good at. That's sort of our main point of focus. And so to us, being 100% API based is extremely important because it allows us to integrate with other software. And we do think that that's sort of the way forward. All-in-one solutions are great, but as Viktoriya touched on earlier, every winery is so unique and has their own, unique requirements. And so being API based allows them to kind of build their own version of a platform that works best for them.
Thank you, Karen. Kevin, we're going to move over and talk a little bit about Innovent, but first, would you introduce yourself and then let us know how Innovent is built and how that fits into our conversations today?
Absolutely. Thanks, Kim. And hi, everybody. My name's Kevin Williams. I'm the Director of Sales here at Innovent. I've spent about the last 10 years or so in the wine tech space and really just seen the software tool sets evolve and really empower wineries to be more unique and custom to their business workflows. As Viktoriya mentioned, having unique business cases on their consumer experience is incredibly important for them, and selecting best of breed suppliers really allows businesses to continue that endeavor of being unique and having a really close relationship with their consumers, with their product, and with the industry as a whole. And so to quickly introduce Innovent, we are a widely adopted, purpose-built winery management solution that's capable of supporting all wine producers from small to and boutique wineries to mid-size and custom crush producers, as well as multi-brand, multi-site enterprise producers as well. And at the heart of it all, we're a passionate team of winemakers and industry veterans and technologists really dedicated to improving the lives of our clients and helping winery management more simple and accessible. So our solution provides elegant and reliable solutions to help plan, manage, and track all production activities with full traceability from raw material to finished case goods, streamlining some of the toughest parts of the business, which are TTB compliance reporting, and being able to provide really reliable and accurate winery COGS tracking, which is a big challenge for wineries overall and just the production cycle, making that very simple and intuitive. Our mission here at Innovent is to empower global wine producers with powerful yet approachable technology to improve quality, efficiency, and profitability. And our goal, like Karen stated, is to really eliminate friction points, redundant systems, spreadsheets, and processes, and really create clear communication channels within and between winery departments, uniting all business units with real-time actionable data to drive more informed decision-making. And just like Commerce 7, Innovent is 100% API-based. We were built this way from day one back in 2013, where API understanding was not very well understood or accepted in the industry. Really leaning into that methodology and mindset has helped provide us just evolutionary advancement to help empower our clients with, once again, purpose-built technologies that handle the specific industry. And I think that's something that Viktoriya touched on. That's really key. In the last 10 years, we've had a lot more industry-specific suppliers. And I think that's really something to put some emphasis on, building trusting relationships and working with vendors who truly understand the problem at hand and are motivated to deliver solutions to help satisfy those. So I know we'll be talking a lot more about integration capability, the API ecosystem and architectures that our modern systems include. But before we jump into that, I'll pass it back to you, Kim.
Thank you, Kevin. I did want to just follow up one question, a quick question for you. So Innovent's highly specialized on the winemaking side. Can you give us a quick example of some information that comes out of Innovent that's useful on other sides of a business, winery business, that you maybe not would have gotten otherwise if you didn't have this highly specialized software solution?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, there's a ton that I can pull out here, and to first maybe set the stage with how wineries are managing production today. Typically, it's being run through a workbook of tens or hundreds of spreadsheets to track all of the data necessary that needs to be managed through the winemaking process, for winemaking specifically, but also for compliance and all of the strict government reporting that we have within that. I would say one of the key benefits that Innovent provides is the ability for real-time access to winemaking teams at their fingertips. So we were the first to pioneer a mobile web app so that users that are working in the cellar can in real time record the actions and record any analysis or what's basically taking place in the cellar without having to write them down on a notebook that then gets passed to one or two or three other people and entered across several spreadsheets, to get to that place. I would say one of the most compelling aspects when it comes to integration is really the costing element. And this is with both Commerce 7 and Enavate. From a production management standpoint, it's very difficult to manage volume costing throughout the production process with all of your gains and losses and blending and different permutations that take place throughout the production ecosystem. Innovent tracks the day-to-day workflow, being able to provide real-time work in progress cost, allowing wineries to have a better cost target on specific programs and specific brands by way of integrating overheads and cost allocations from the financial solution, the ERP. And then that adds value going forward into the sales channels, being able to show true profitability reporting at the SKU level based on the sales that are being run through their DTC channels, as well as through distribution, really putting a lot of emphasis on accurate case goods, I think, is a strong element for wineries looking to provide more sustainable and more profitable businesses.
Great. Thanks, Kevin. Okay, and then we'll move on to Jessica to talk a little bit about Enavate and how it all ties together with Enavate.
Yeah, my name is Jessica Finch. I'm the industry lead for our beverage division here at Enavate. I'm a Sonoma County native, and I've been working with wine clients in some kind of capacity since about 2009 throughout different careers I've had. and most recently come over to the ERP space about 5 years ago. So really working with the business application side for the winery operations management. Our product VinPoint is built on Dynamics 365 Business Central. And really what Microsoft does is a great job of creating a horizontal product that they want to push out to, all of the marketplace. And that can meet about 80% of the needs of the general population, right? But what they do is they leave a lot of open-ended areas for partners such as ourselves to come in and verticalize that solution in order to make it really specific and purpose-built for certain industries. So with VinPoint, that's what we've done for the wine space. The product's been around for about 20 years in different iterations, starting in Navision, and now we're really committed to the Dynamics 365 platform as a whole. Again, all of those APIs, right? So we're able to connect in a modern solution space with Commerce 7, Innovent, but we can also leverage the rest of the Microsoft stack. So that's going to be all of the Azure platform solutions and offerings, Power Platform, all of the Office 365 or Microsoft 365 integrations to really give you that platform experience and be able to take control of all of the investment that Microsoft is making across the board. So, they're putting tons of money into things like OpenAI, really, and using those really tech forward, kind of innovative solutions, and we can bring those to a market and a business that's really been kind of technologically behind historically, right? But it's great that we're seeing this new adoption in the wine business of these technologies and how they can leverage that data, how we can use these solutions and bring them together. And really what we do is we kind of take the pieces from Innovent and the pieces from Commerce 7, and we put those into the middle to really offer those organizations a really true picture of where they're at and what they're doing.
Thank you, Jessica. And that sort of leads into the what's in the title of this webinar, making business decisions, right? So
exactly.
Can you give a quick example of some of those integrations that could help company make some decisions? I think Kevin touched on some of them too, but
yeah, just having, our partners that we have here in this webinar series, is huge, right? We can bring in all of the sales data and, make sure the inventory is reconciled from the DTC sales and the different channels. We can get that really granular cost tracking from Innovent and move our products back and forth so that they can, use the wine with what we've procured on our side. So it's really a very cohesive way of working these systems together to ensure that everybody's got the best product for their jobs. Every team has the best product that they would need in order to, facilitate what they've got to do. So the finance and warehousing and, final inventory will handle all of that. Kevin's Innovent's really good at making wine, and Commerce 7 is really good at selling it. So we want to make sure that all of our clients have the flexibility to put the right systems in place for the pieces that they're trying to solve. Another thing that we can leverage is the rest of the Microsoft app source. So Viktoriya had spoken about, AP automation, any of the HR integrations. There's over 2,000 applications that are vetted and fully validated by Microsoft that we can go and look towards as a Microsoft partner in order to meet the needs of our clients. So there's a ton of flexibility. There's always a lot of options for whatever our clients need. And it's just a really great way of bringing everything together at the end of the day, getting them modern optimization and workplace, giving them better ROI on their investments, SaaS delivery, and, operating expense versus these huge capital expenditures for all this software and everything they need. It's a lot more manageable now. Everybody's always on an evergreen version. You're up to date with the latest releases. We've got security, all kinds of things that you just couldn't get before, you don't get with an all-in-one.
Thank you, Jessica. Viktoriya, as I see you sitting there nodding all the way along, did what they was talking about here, did they make you think of anything that you guys had been dealing with at Darioush that you wanted to mention based on anything they said here?
Well, absolutely. This is kind of a feeling when the dream comes true, something that we've been wanting for a long time and been in search for a solution that gives us what the guys mentioned about. So yes, I'm pretty optimistic and excited for the next couple of years, or also like a decade. That it's nice to see how it's all evolving. And like I mentioned, nothing, is permanent by changes. And I like to see the changes in a good direction. And when we feel that that's gonna meet our needs and we can concentrate better on customer service and doing business how we've been doing rather than struggling to make business decisions. And yes, I'm excited.
Great. I have a question here that is really for everyone, but I think I would like to start with you, Viktoriya, because it's if you're going to talk to other wineries and tell them why you think they or other wineries in general should look into creating this personalized path towards their own technology stack that specialize towards what they do. What do you think what would you say this is why you should do it?
I think there is a need, and that need has been in the industry for quite a long time. I've had many colleagues to reach out to me over the years to ask me for, feedback and give them some insight of how we do business in terms of what technology we use. Because Darioush always had a history of like being progressive in that way. I wouldn't say that we were the first ones to jump on those solutions, but we probably were like one of the first ones. And we've gone through a lot of trials and errors and have a history of how we came to where we're at right now. And I always feel free to share with the guys saying like, this is not as hard as you think it is, because everything new could be, pretty questionable for old school people, which is, the predominant in wine industry. They like to do things their own way, and not always chasm to change. And it gotta be something very, solid to move the mindset and for, look around. It's, 21st century. It's not, like 1960s anymore. And you gotta adjust and change. And we felt that we were like in the right place and right time to experience what we started experiencing with Navision conversion, and then successfully to BC 365 and getting to know other partners. And my advice always been, or like my share of my experience saying, this is, you gotta do that because this is future. And this is the best way for you to do it right now when you already have people who can share their own knowledge base and help you. Don't be afraid. And this is not as scary as it seems. And, cost-wise and implementation-wise, educating your staff personnel and making them to work on the new systems, this is not as crazy as it seems. And you just gotta do it. And like I said, I'm pretty excited for the future collaboration with different applications and other vendors. And I got a big 5-year plan on what we're going to do, Darioush with the existing Enavate and Kobzar 7. That's just like, from my perspective, that's the way forward. So you got to do like 2 steps up, not going backwards.
Got to move towards the future, huh? I'd like to open it up to the rest of your panel here. If somebody wants to bid in on why wineries should start building their personalized technology stack.
There's a lot of things. And I think Viktoriya brings up a really good point about some of the hesitancy, right? And how we can really get these systems in an efficient way without really bogging down the organization, right? Because it is a balance. It's about being able to still produce and sell wine, but also these transformative initiatives, right? And because of the architecture that we work in, you can have an Innovent implementation happening before you put in BC. You can have them parallel, you can run them in at different times in order to get, some quick wins in one part of the business. And then we can come back and kind of address the rest of it later on. So you don't have to take on, all three of these solutions at one time, which may be overwhelming, right? We can help you build a really solid roadmap of what can we do, quick? What can we do for the best price and the quickest ROI for the dollars that the organization is spending? And then how do we build upon that? I mean, even from our standpoint, we don't have to start with every single part of the system. We can get you really set up on, financials and the DTC integration and the finished goods inventory. And then we can build it out from there. Let's just get you in the system. Let's get you working in it, used to it, and then let's come back and see how we can add to it to make it work better for you as you grow and as you scale as an organization.
Yeah, just to capitalize on that, what Jessica says, really helping clients and wineries start where they are, or working with vendors that allow us to meet them where they are and evolve from that. To Viktoriya's standpoint, doesn't have to feel like a daunting, overwhelming process. There's a lot of paths to happiness, and it comes down to, number one, the sophistication and complexity of the current environment. We are experienced, knowledgeable solution providers and have probably worked through a lot of similar positions in the past to help get our clients successful. And I think for all of us, our client satisfaction rating is through the roof. And it's something that I know we all really lean into our support and our client engagement. One thing that I did want to kind of open discussion a little bit, something that Viktoriya said that I think stuck with me as sometimes a hurdle in helping wineries get the ball rolling, if you will, is the upfront cost or the investment. And what Viktoriya was explaining in the introduction or journey for Darioush was the cost saving and the user empowerment, and understanding that yes, there is typically a step back before you move forward. Viktoriya, if you want to paint a little bit of a picture on some of the cost savings that you think your team has incurred in the short term through these transitions, I think that'd be great for the audience.
Oh, well, absolutely. Like I'll share what I can share. So yes, and for sure that the initial investment can be very overwhelming for many wineries, but that's not the case if you look at that individually. And if there is a need for conversion and jumping, like 5 steps up, so that's totally justified. And if you look forward how much it's going to cost you on an annual basis, and you do like the cost analysis and expenses that it involves, they will see that that's considerably saving your, dollar amounts. And the subscription, I believe, is per user on a user basis. So it's not, like set annual fee like it used to be. So depending on your company size, your price structure is going to be different. So I wouldn't say precisely how it is. I'm pretty sure that it's, there is an individual approach for that for many clients. And like I mentioned, the workaround. So the productivity of team members increased. You don't have to do a lot of steps that you used to do, and optimizing the processes. That's been always our goal, to go digital. And especially when we work in a multi-office environment, this is important to have that ability to communicate easily, freely at, at your hand, to desktop or at your laptop or cell phone. I can be on a run and if driving, and I can get information, I can plug in and log into Nav 365. Just, the sky is the limit in that sense. And it's just up to requirements that your company has right now. And like I mentioned, there is always a way for improvement, and having this client base of people and community forums where we can, chat and discuss different matters. This is also valuable because we can give a feedback that can be brought back to our vendors, and some things can be improved. And in that sense, this is like a living organism, if you will. So it's never static. So it's dynamic and it evolves. And definitely, the team members are happier. I'm happier as the person that I feel that something that we acquired makes our life easier, and just kind of going forward is that.
Yeah, no doubt. I think the point to really, lean in there is just more productivity with your team and the ability for them to maximize what their day-to-day work is, and not being bogged down with a lot of the manual data tracking and reporting, things that all of us, provide in our specific, pillars of the industry itself. We know that our people are typically our biggest investment across the winery, specifically, and really leaning into investing in our people, providing more empowerment and accountability. I do think it's a natural and beneficial circle that helps wineries keep well qualified and experienced individuals on half who are continuing to look for bettering themselves and bettering their work within their specific role at the winery. So kind of a multifaceted approach on the ROI and the cost savings, but it is, truly important to call out of, there is cost in adopting and implementing new solutions, but looking at that 3, 5, 10-year return on that, to your point, kind of paints a pretty clear picture.
Absolutely, yeah. And like I mentioned before, implementation was a breeze. And my history here at the winery, I've gone through, starting with QuickBooks, working with Excel and macros to provide, produce, design some reports in a way how top management wants to see it. I kind of felt the pain of that need that there is something better should be there, and I believe there is. And like I said, I've been pretty excited to see how the industry or how the solutions evolved in the past several years, and this is very encouraging and promising.
Great. Karen, do you want to talk a little bit about building a unique technology stack and why you guys think that, or you think that that's a good idea for wineries?
Yeah, absolutely. I think Kevin made some really, really excellent points. I'll kind of just chime in, I guess, from a broader perspective. But, I think as wineries grow and evolve, their technology needs are going to change, right? And wineries, as we said earlier, often have unique needs that require flexibility and scalability, especially as it grows and diversifies in its operations. So I think by leveraging API-based, purpose-built solutions, wineries can really handpick the solutions that align with their specific needs and can integrate seamlessly, into their existing systems. And I think that this kind of approach, like I said, allows for scalability because wineries can easily add or replace individual components of their tech stack as their requirements evolve over time, right? And just beyond that, the technology landscape is just constantly evolving, and wineries need to stay adaptable, and just be open to emerging trends and technologies. You never want to limit yourself by not being able to, incorporate new innovative technologies. So by adopting a more modular tech stack, wineries can kind of stay modern and really, at the end of the day, ensure that their operations remain efficient, they remain competitive, and I think most importantly, remain future-proof. So
just to comment on that too, and just really emphasize that I think there's sometimes a fear of going cloud-based in the wine industry. One of the biggest benefits of having a modern cloud-based SaaS provider is that it is a living and breathing system. I know here at Innovent, we're pushing code multiple times a week, continuously evolving small quality of life improvements that some users may not even know, as well as large epic releases that are monumental for bringing value to the business. And once again, helping businesses evolve without having to upgrade and version and follow that legacy trend. You are subscribing to a partner who's dedicated. Us three, being specific to this industry, to continue to innovate in this space.
Yeah, and collaborate, right? We work very closely together, right? So it's always it's a true partnership between our organizations to serve, the winery industry and the clients. So,
just to pick up again on Cameron saying about flexibility and trends, because things change all the time, as we have seen in the last few years, and being able to adapt as you go forward, super important these days. So with that in mind, maybe you guys could talk a little bit about current trends in wine industry that you think your technologies are making wineries better at answering to or adapting to. And Viktoriya, maybe for you, perhaps did you guys have a path in mind that you started down and then found out that maybe it didn't work after all, and you were able to tick and tack and adapt?
Well, yes. Like I've said, over the years, you can see the changes in the patterns of, like the clientele base has changed, we can see more younger generation coming in, and these people obviously tech savvy, and you're gonna, cater for those. And they will be very, surprised if they don't see you checking them out with an iPad at the table outside tasting. So this is something that comes with the clients when they come for an experience. They have already sort of preset expectations on certain level, yet we want to maintain our story and what we are at Darioush and what his vision is, and trying to balance these trends and see what it is desired, what the client's expectations are, like on the DTC base or like directly at the winery. So this is something that our direct marketing team always looking after, social media, trends, you name it. And ability for us to being able to implement pieces and see how they work and then change on the go, on the fly. This has also been very important. And that's the flexibility and customization part of that's been appealing for us. So if we go one avenue and then we realize that this is not something that we want to pursue, we want to just, quickly do a 90-degree turn and go in a different direction. So that's something that's kind of been done many times. And like I say, there is always, like you guys mentioned, that the landscape of technology is huge. Like, and you look left, there is something, you look right, there is something else. And it's impossible to try everything, but we've never been afraid of going for something and give it a try. And rather we'll say like, yes, we've tried, it doesn't work, rather than say like, yeah, we haven't tried, and we just got stuck in our little bubble. So yes, there have been a few instances where we had to change direction, and our partners helped us in ways to customize, create new ways of dealing with the data, or changing. We've changed, like I said, DTC partner, and that transition's been also, semi-smooth to its degree. So I wouldn't say it was impossible, but as a normal process that it takes time, that's been quite not painful in the ways of disrupting your productivity, daily operations, and gone through pretty smooth. And that's kind of it is what it is in the life. So especially in a business life, you gotta be ready for a change.
Kim, I wanted to comment on. I think the question you were asking was, talk about a trend or some flexibility, and what's top of mind. I'll go ahead and bring up the elephant in the room that's typically always in our room, which is TTB compliance reporting. This is a ever evolving piece of our business that is incredibly strict and always changing. On the DTC side, widely complex. On the production side, more and more things are being tracked and having to be governed and reported back to the government there. And one of the things I think is top of mind for a lot of businesses right now is the EU with label compliance and some of the requirements that are needing to track. And by not having a system that provides that traceability, not when it happens, but going back a few years with your products that are already on the shelf, getting ahead of the curve and setting yourself up for success in the future, it's very important. And us on the vendor side, we're always on the pulse of compliance changes or what's taking place in the industry that we need to provide solutions for. And I think that's a real life example that's in the back of a lot of winery owners and management, their heads to always stay on track.
Jessica, did you want to talk about adapting to trends, current or possible future trends as well?
Yeah, I mean, just to, kind of go with what Kevin said, I mean, we can help in that lens too. We have some reports that we can help you get out of our system. We do 5120s and excise tax movement. So, making sure that your movement between your bonded and non-bonded locations is accurate and available to you, with real data. I think just the aggregation of the total data in general, right, for the organization is getting more and more prevalent. People want to know at any point in time, how am I doing selling this wine? How am I doing with my costing on this product? It's just about giving them the most data points to be able to make better business decisions moving forward. What SKUs do I have, that may not be doing as well that I might have to get rid of? That's something we've seen a lot of in the industry lately is, offloading product that's not really serving the organization anymore. Well, how do they get to that conclusion, right? We have to be able to bring all of this together in a meaningful way in order to give businesses the opportunity to make those decisions.
Right. Now, talked for quite a while here, and we're going to have to wrap up, unfortunately. But before we do, I just wanted to give each of you an opportunity just to tie a few final words together, what your thoughts are on this conversation and what you'd like people to take away. And Karen, can we start with you?
Sure, yeah. I think, the biggest thing I would want someone to take away from this conversation is really just not to be afraid of new technologies, not to be afraid of, taking advantage of new things that are coming your way or trying something new, right? Even though this sort of modular approach, I guess you could say, is a newer approach, it's really effective. And again, it creates a really personalized experience for the winery. And I think that that's just key to moving forward and really having a future-proofed, successful business in the long term, not just 2-3 years from now, but 10, 20 years from now, right? It's just a phenomenal way to really maintain a business, optimize operations. And I think we all do a really fantastic job of that, together and with all of the other partners that we work with as well.
Thanks. Kevin, you were nodding.
Yeah, I think I'll go down to the ground level here and pull out, one of the biggest things I think, in my opinion, while, this investing in software and solutions are definitely an investment for the business and for the future, I think, inherently it's one of the biggest investments in your people. And especially with, some of the conversations around labor shortages and finding great people that, stick around for a long time and empowering them with the tools to grow and be more accountable and really pave a successful path for the business. All of our solutions do that incredibly well and will continue to do that. And so maximizing the investment on your people, I think, is one of the best approaches that wineries can take going forward. There's not an infinite, workforce out there, and being able to empower more people with less is a really key aspect to the ROI and the savings with all of these investments.
Thanks, Kevin. Viktoriya, do you want to say a few final words?
Of course. Like already mentioned, I would say don't be afraid to try, and it's okay to take baby steps. Do your research, do your homework. There are a lot of new vendors, talented solutions, and that do make your life easier. And what I find very useful too is the industry colleagues, like research, ask, don't afraid. And there are a lot of people who gone through those steps already, and they don't mind sharing experience. And like I mentioned, I'm always welcome to any conversations or give a feedback or anything. And say I'm just happy to see the industry getting what's been way overdue in terms of information technology that is helping to make businesses easier and have, enjoy what we do and concentrate on the things that we do better, make wine and make people happy.
Fantastic. Jessica, I'm going to let you round it all off because Innovate, connects it all together, right?
Yeah. Well, thank you. I would say just don't think that it's such an overwhelming task that you can't accomplish it, right? We are all here to help guide you on the best path forward for your business. We want to be your trusted advisor, and we really want to collaborate with you and be a long-term partner for your business. None of our organizations are here to show up and do a project. We're all here to commit to you and your business long-term and really be there for you for that foreseeable future to get you where you want to be. So just don't be afraid of that first step. Just get in there and let's take the leap together and see where we can go.
Thank you, Jessica. And Innovate, they would actually like a little bit of feedback from all of you guys. So there's a link here in the live chat and below here for a little survey. And there's going to be a little drawing as well for a Uber card if you're kind enough to give some feedback. So
yes, please.
with that, thank you, Viktoriya, Karen, Kevin, Jessica, for all your insights here. And thank you, everybody who watched along and participated in the chat. Have a great day, and I hope to see you all soon.
Appreciate it. Thank you very much.